Meanwhile, Joe Biden was up in Manchester, New Hampshire yesterday. He was at the DNC's regional headquarters there. And at the conclusion of his prepared remarks, we want you to see this as somebody is yelling behind Lawrence to try to get his attention.
It's not working. He's looking it up.
Essentially, Joe Biden turns to ask his staff if it's okay if he goes off the prepared remarks and is allowed to take a question from a reporter. How did that go? We got the tape. Watch.
We got to make sure that we communicate that. I'm going to be working like the devil, and I'm looking forward to doing more and more of these events than the big events, because that's how I used to campaign. You've campaigned with me before. A few times. But really, it's just getting to look people in the eye, get their feelings. They tell you the truth when they're talking to them. Anyway, am I allowed to take any questions? Anybody here at the staff?
You know, there are a couple of different ways where the staff is able to control things. Sometimes, if they're in a hall, they'll just turn up the music.
Right.
So that, okay, it's the exit music.
Sometimes they'll get a rabbit.
So, I was going to say,
sometimes the Easter Bunny. Or the First Lady, when they come off or go onto Marine One, she drags him away from the rope line. So there are ways. But when he's out in his element, keep in mind, the Joe Biden who has been on Capitol Hill for 175 years, his inclination is he wants to mix it up with the reporters. He wants to take questions.
So what's the problem?
But obviously his staff has said, Mr. President, don't do it, or you might not get reelected.
Right, because
just one wrong answer.
If your staff thinks you've lost it, maybe you've lost it. I remember so many times Donald Trump would look at Reince Priebus and say, "Can I take questions?" And no, that never happened. I mean, can you imagine Donald Trump's?
Y'all, you have to show the front cover of the New York Post today. Have you seen this? It's Joe Biden in the Tax the Rich dress.
Dressed to kill. Yeah, he's wearing AOC's dress.
Yeah, he released his...
It's his back. It's so
and by
great.
the way, he released a budget. We'll discuss that. It is an embarrassment.
There you go.
I love it.
Look at that. I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.
To an update on the ongoing fallout with Boeing. We are learning this morning that a former employee turned whistleblower was found dead. His death comes as yet another Boeing plane was involved in a mid-air mishap. NBC senior correspondent Tom Costello has more.
This morning, police in Charleston, South Carolina, tell NBC News they are aware of the death of a former Boeing employee turned whistleblower. 62-year-old John Barnett found dead on Friday from what the coroner calls an apparent self-inflicted gunshot wound.
So this is my retirement plaque.
Barnett retired from Boeing in 2017 after working as a quality manager for more than 30 years. Since his departure, he has taken legal action against the company, claiming he was retaliated against for raising safety issues internally, issues that Boeing denied at the time. Back in 2019, Barnett sat down with Today describing a haphazard safety culture at Boeing.
From day one, it's just all been about schedule and hurry up and just get it done, push the planes out. We're behind schedule. You know, we don't have time to worry about issues that y'all bring up.
In 2017, the FAA released a review upholding many of Barnett's concerns. With regards to his sudden death, the company released a statement writing, "We are saddened by Mr. Barnett's passing, and our thoughts are with his family and friends." Production standards at Boeing are under intense scrutiny, following a series of troubling incidents involving Boeing planes. The latest on Monday, when a 787 from the South American airline LATAM apparently dropped abruptly mid-flight from Sydney to Auckland, injuring at least 50 passengers and crew members. The airline says it's unclear what caused the strong movement on the flight. NBC News has also confirmed the Justice Department has launched a criminal investigation into Boeing following the blowout door plug on a 787 MAX 9 in January. The NTSB determined the plane left the Boeing plant without critical bolts that hold the plug in place. A scathing new FAA audit also found Boeing failed to comply with its own quality control procedures.
We're working with Boeing and demanding that they come up with a very detailed plan within the next 90 days to fix the quality issues that are out there.
NBC's Tom Costello with that report.
Meantime, KenBuck, who has been on this program on a number of occasions and who has sometimes broken with his party of Republicans, is just talking about the fact that this hearing is a symbol of the dysfunction in Washington. And although we knew he was not going to run for re-election, he has just put out a statement. What does it say, Julie?
Yeah, exactly. He put out a statement, Chris, and this is really notable because, again, this makes Republicans' margins even smaller. Now, I'm a journalist. I'm not that good at math, so we'll calculate those margins later on, but they were already really tight before he made this announcement. He did write in part, "It has been an honor to serve the people of Colorado's 4th District." He said, "Today I am announcing that I will depart Congress at the end of next week. I look forward to staying involved in our political process as well as spending more time in Colorado with my family." He had broken with his party, as you mentioned, on key votes, including the impeachment of Alejandro Mayorkas, causing that vote initially to fail. He said before that he will be retiring, but this is news that he is leaving at the end of next week. And I have to tell you, he has yet to talk in this hearing behind me, but he is on the Judiciary Committee. We do expect to hear from him, his questioning of her when the committee gavels back in here. And I saw him walking back and forth, his reaction to the hearing in real time. As you mentioned, it was one of the things he noted in why he chose to early up his retirement, if you will. But certainly, this is going to mean big problems for Speaker Johnson, especially when you look at what's on the docket. When they have to fund the government, they're trying to do it in a partisan way, and they have that aid bill sitting out that the Senate passed to Ukraine, to Israel, to Taiwan, that they're also trying to do in their own way. Every single vote counts here, and certainly this is bad news bears for Speaker Johnson.
We have that breaking news that the White House is just now announcing it is sending $300 million worth of new weapons to Ukraine.
When Russian troops advance and its guns fire, Ukraine does not have enough ammunition to fire back. That's costing terrain, it's costing lives, and it's costing us, the United States and the NATO alliance, strategically. So today, on behalf of President Biden, I'm announcing an emergency package of security assistance of $300 million worth of weapons and equipment to address some of Ukraine's pressing needs. This emergency package that we're announcing contains a large tranche of artillery rounds and GMLRS for the HIMARS. It is assistance that Ukraine desperately needs to hold the line against Russian attacks.
NBC's Kelly O'Donnell is live in Washington. This obviously, Kelly, comes amid that battle over Ukraine aid in Congress. President Biden has been pleading for it. We've been hearing reports for many weeks now about the desperate situation with a lack of ammo for the Ukrainians. Tell us what more you know about how this all came to be.
Well, Chris, the briefing is still ongoing, so we may learn more in the next few minutes. But this was unexpected. And Jake Sullivan, the president's national security advisor, says this package is only possible because they have scoured the books and found cost savings within the Department of Defense for existing contracts where the full resources had not been spent. They do not anticipate they will be able to do this again. But this was culling the resources that currently exist to find this $300 million package, which Jake Sullivan says could last for a period of weeks. So the pressure continues from the White House on to Congress to fund more. That ongoing stalemate that you indicated has been a source of great concern for the Biden administration, for U.S. allies, and, of course, for the U.S. partners in Ukraine, President Zelensky and others, who need this kind of support in order to carry out the war against Russia. So this is unexpected. It is different, and it is a way to try to again show the administration's commitment to Ukraine by finding funds and being able to get this package together. And it addresses some of the specific needs with artillery rounds and ammunition that have been so much a part of some of the losses that Ukraine has suffered in recent weeks. So the caution here, this is a surprise, unexpected thing, so it is not to take the pressure off Congress, the administration says, but it is a way to immediately help the people of Ukraine, the President Zelensky and his team, and to further support our NATO partners, because certainly the administration believes that any progress that Russia makes is a potential threat to NATO. So this is unusual, and it is something that will certainly be driving a lot of questions about how this will happen, and will it change in any way the dynamic on Capitol Hill. Chris?
Kelly O'Donnell, thank you.
I had dozed off, and the next thing you know, the plane dropped something to the effect of 500 feet. And I opened my eyes, and there was various individuals at the top of the plane, just stuck to the roof, and then they fell to the floor.
There was a moment in your head where you thought, oh my God, now this is it, I'm going to die?
There was clearly a moment in my head, and then I just kind of resigned to the fact that this could be it.
Growing questions about what caused a plane carrying 263 passengers to suddenly plummet midair, sending bodies flying through the cabin, hitting the plane's ceiling. The airline calling it a, quote, technical error, but no further explanation has been given. The pilot, after this happens, comes over to where you are. Brian, how did he look?
I think he was in shock, and I immediately engaged with him and said, what was that? And he said, I lost control of the plane. My gauges just kind of went blank on me.
Come up with the zingers. Hey, I'm Paulina Poroscova, and this is 5 Questions with USA Today's Women of the Year. Pretty much every minute of your life where you could go left and you go right, and that's like all the time. I don't like to keep my talents secret, so everybody knows them. It's a book called Us by Terry Real. Completely changed my life in approaching relationships, and I would highly recommend it to everybody. Definitely be Moon River. About there being a big world out there, and about having your love to travel it with.